Hi, this is Peter Riley Osborne with BeaverBlitz.com, and this a continuation of my series on Onesimus Clarke, the guard for the Beavers. And I wanted to show another play that kind of highlights his athleticism and his skill as a pass blocker. This is again against Cal, and so I'm going to run the play, and then I'll talk about a few parts of it afterwards. Okay, so again, he's right here at left guard, and this particular play is a pretty solid play action play that was kind of a staple of the Beavers' offense last year. So you have a pretty good fake here with the running back, and then the style of blocking. It starts out as kind of like a aggressive run first, then drop back and pass block. This is a great actually method for blocking that helps a lot if you have some really aggressive defensive linemen that are maybe taught to react more than they are to read. And so if you have a lot of guys that are really reactionary and they react to the pressure, that initial contact where you're feeling like it's a run, then they respond like it's a run and look for the running back and maybe don't you know pin their ears back and try and get after the quarterback thinking it's a pass. So definitely buys them some time. Let's see what Clarke does here. Okay, so real quick before we go, they've already made all their line calls and stuff like that, but you do have someone showing blitz here on the edge. This is going to change things across the line. So, and Clarke would have seen this. And before this guy moved in, you probably were going to have a double team here. He's shaded a little inside, meaning he's kind of lined up closer to the center than the tackle. But by and large, this went from being probably a double team right here to now Clarke has to recognize that he might be the only blocker on this guy. And the guy does come, and so you have this situation where you have Clarke is the only guy. He's man on man here, and initially they set out like it's a run. Everything kind of looks runnish. You even see these guys are all faked out too. They're coming forward like it's a run, looking to stop the back. So this is a really good fake actually from the start of this play. And so then right here, you'll see these guys are just recognize that the quarterback still has the ball, much to their chagrin later. But if you look at Clarke, look at this where he's at right now. So you have a really good step here by Blake, who basically is just dominating this guy with his position. But Clarke's kind of done the same, right? So he knows he's got this guy one-on-one. He made enough contact early to get them to kind of think it's a run. And now he's kind of setting up his position so that he can be ready for whatever direction he comes off of this block once he realizes it's not a run. So right here, you see the defender, notices obviously that the running back doesn't have the ball. So he engages with Clarke, and Clarke's set up really well here. He's got a great base with his legs, or with his hips and underneath him. He's got his feet wide, not too wide, but he's still in a pretty good power stance. But look at his hands. They're engaged inside. So he actually is winning right now. This defender is reaching around him almost like a hug. And so he doesn't really have a lot of power. If you ever hug someone and they keep their hands inside, they have a lot more power and a lot more control. And you'll see this later in the block. So Clarke has great position on this guy right now. And Ziande Johnson is the defender right there. He's a 3-year letterman. He was honorable mention all Pac-12 last year. So this is in the slaps. This is a pretty good player. He's experienced. He knows what he's doing. And Clarke has played at this point. He played against Cal Poly, and that was kind of it. And so this is a pretty big matchup for him, and he's given up a lot of experience, but he makes up for it in his technique. And so the end of this is perfect because Clarke had such inside position, he's actually legally able to hold. He's not holding, but he has a grip on him. But because he's inside, because he never extends himself, because he doesn't pull jersey, he's able to control him. And Johnson has nothing to do. Like, he can't make any impact on this play whatsoever. And the coolest part about this, it's a kind of a high experience move, is Clarke knew when to let go, right? Like, he was holding and he was tight, but if you pull jersey, it's a flag. So the moment that Johnson kind of got to the side, he let go and allowed Johnson to get some separation and be free. But at this point, the damage is done. The play's over, and it ends pretty well for the Beavs. Side note, had that guy not thought it was a pass or a run first, he probably would have got to him right at the point of the attack. But because of that little bit of play action, that freed up Pierce for a pretty big play. All in all, this was a great pass play. The fake was really good. You got the movement for the linebackers you wanted. Everyone was in good position. They were good positions with their feet and their hips. There was good contact. Clarke was able to manage his guy perfectly. And when it got to be where it might be dicey, where it might be called a hold, he'd let go. He did all things you expect of like a senior, as someone who's starting his first Pac-12 game. So I was pretty impressed with that play and a lot of what Clarke has done this year.